What's up, YouTube? I have a 4-cylinder 2.3 liter 2003 Ranger. My EGR valve went bad, and this is the duratec engine, so the EGR valve is way in the back behind the firewall. I tore up all the insulation. You can see it. That's the EGR valve right there. That little black circular guy right there. And it's a huge pain in the neck to get to, and there's very little information on the internet on how to access it. And what I found just said that you have to lower the transmission, disconnect the drive shaft, lower the transmission, and that's supposed to pull the engine away from the firewall. It doesn't make any sense to me, because then it would pull the top of the engine towards the firewall, making it harder to access from the top. But I guess you're supposed to access it from the bottom. But if you're accessing it from the bottom, you're just going to spill radiator fluid all over yourself unless you drain the system. I thought that was way too difficult. So what I did is I removed the hood first, and then I built a little table around the corner like this. You can build it however you want. I just took a piece of plywood, 4 4x4s, screwed them together and made it, a little bit sturdier. And I put it over the hood of my car. So, sorry about the siren. Put it over the hood of my car, so I was laying down on top of the engine, basically, and kind of hovering right here. And so that way I could reach my whole arm down in there, because it's pretty far. I'm 6'7", and I was almost elbow deep. From right here. I have pretty long arms, and I was almost elbow deep from here. So I reached down in there. There's two 10 millimeter bolts that come out. One is on the one's in the top right below the radiator hose that goes in there, and there's one on the bottom left. It's not the 8 millimeter bolt. It's right above it. It's the 10 millimeter bolt right below it. You don't need to take out the 8 millimeter bolt. I did it on accident. So I'll walk you step by step what I had to do. Take the hood off, step 1. Step 2 is removing the intake manifold. And there's a great video that I'll link by TRQ that shows you how to, and I'm not sponsored by TRQ, as you can tell by my shitty video. Just trying to shed some light on the lack of information in this replacement. So you're gonna remove the intake manifold. It's not too difficult, but whatever, you can do it. To remove the intake manifold, remove the filtration, whatever, intake, cold air intake. In that video, it's going to tell you have to remove the power steering pump. This is the reservoir, the pump's down here, and you do have to do that. Kind of sucks, whatever, it's not terrible. And then while you're at it, you're going to want to replace the gaskets for your intake manifold and for your EGR tube. This gasket right here and there. Also, I don't know what this is. It looks like a hard drive. I pulled it out to give myself more room because the wire harness that runs along this left side, this guy with all the tape and shit all over it, you got to pull it up and out of the way, up and out of the way. And then I removed this bolt and nut from here, pulled all this wiring out of the way. And if you have a valve head cover gasket that's leaking, it's even better if you take the valve head cover off and replace the gasket, and it'll give you even more room to work in there. But make sure you cover up the exposed engine, because all the insulation along the firewall back here, it's the EGR valve's right up on it. So the whole time you're trying to get these bolts out, you're just shredding. You're getting fiberglass all in your hands, and it sucks ass. It's really, really shitty. But, it is what it is. Fuck Henry Ford's engineers for putting it like this, or making it like this. Anyways, I think that's everything that I had to do, and I just laid down on top, got it out that way. Bunch of coolant leaked out because I didn't want to, empty my reservoir, and who cares? I just flushed it recently. But it's pretty shitty. It's gonna suck really, really bad. But if you just follow the steps in the TRQ video, it's super helpful, and it's very, very easy. It just gives gives you a step-by-step guide on how to remove the intake manifold, all the connectors, all your vacuum lines, the pump, and how to put everything back together. And if you're gonna do this, I highly recommend that you save, if you're not, very experienced in this, you save all your bolts and mark them for where they go back to. I'm relatively new into working on cars. I've been doing it for like 3 or 4 years now. So I still mark all my bolts when I take them out and say where they go back to, and separate them on like a big white cloth so they're very easy to see so I don't lose them. What else? I think that's all I did. And then so on the EGR tube, there's a connector that's really difficult to get to. I highly suggest you just lay on the table if you do decide to build a table, because otherwise you're just going to be laying on top of your engine and fuck everything up. Disconnect it from up there, remove the bolts from up there, leave the hose connected, the radiator hose connected, until you fish it out the back and over here, and then it's really easy to work on because this whole intake manifold will be gone. So there's a bunch of room over here to just disconnect that hose, because mine was super stuck on there. And then it's just gonna piss radiator fluid out. And then mine was super easy to get back on, so I just mounted the EGR, the new one, on, and then slid the radiator hose right on, and it was really easy. And then just put everything back together by the TRQ video. Their model of Ranger was a 4-cylinder 2.3 liter like mine, but it was a little different. Like everything's a little bit different on the duratec. I think it's duratec engine. Duratec engine. It's a little bit different than the one they have. So everything's in like a little bit of a different location. Like they have a throttle body cable here, and I don't. And they have some different vacuum lines in different locations, but it's pretty straightforward. That's how I did it. And I couldn't find it for the longest time. I had my valve head cover off, and it was probably was the best time to do it. But again, it's right there, connector's right there. There was 2 different kinds of EGR valves that you could have bought that my parts guy said were available, and it's not this one. It was not this one at all. So if you're using this one and you have the Duratec 2.3 liter, do not buy that one, because it's not gonna fit. I feel like I'm just rambling when I'm trying to remember any other helpful steps. The hood comes off with just 4 8mm bolts. It's super easy. Just put like a cloth down right here where the corner of the hood would fall onto, so you don't fuck your paint up. And I think that's about everything. Nothing else really stood out to me. I don't know, if you're not if you don't know how to build the table, it's pretty easy. It was just a piece of plywood, 4x8, like how it normally comes, 4 4x4s, and some pieces on the side to tie it together. Put 2 on each side, and then I put the other piece of plywood that I have over here across this wall. It's like a shear wall to make it really stable. And I put 3 pieces along the edge so that my fat ass was laying on it, and make it collapse. And then I added this piece right here, like I said, is a shear wall, and it just slid right. My car just went right underneath it. So if your Ranger isn't lifted and you have all the same specs that I have, it'll work. I think that's it. I don't ever post shit on YouTube, and I don't check YouTube, but if you DM me with any questions, I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Not a mechanic, so if you fuck it up, it's on you. But it worked great for me. I had 0 problems except for with the engineers at Ford. Fuck you guys suck. Do a better job at designing your at where you're gonna put your EGR valve, your dog shit at component location. Fuck you. Hope this helps.